All right, everybody, welcome to Tarqaron. We're here to review Elio.
Yeah,
Ayo.
the big box office smash hit of the oh
Yeah,
that's
it's
maybe not.
guaranteed numbers when you get a new Pixar movie.
When did that start happening? I think the first time that happened was The Good Dinosaur, and it's been kind of a spotty record ever since. So
I'm saying that once they got started dabbling in dinosaurs, this is
this dinosaur,
bad.
you get dinosaur days going on, it's downhill from there. So yeah,
But yeah, this is one we didn't know we were gonna review or not. It was just kind of
yep.
we'll see how it goes. And then I was hearing good things actually, which is what inspired me to even want to watch it. Because from the trailer, I wasn't interested at all really. So I was like,
Hmm.
yeah, you don't really need to review this. But then I was hearing good things, so I was like, all right, maybe I'll go see it. If we happen to go see it, then we'll review it. All right, and we did. So we'll start every review with our gut check, which is our score out of 10 coming into the review, and then upon discussion, and we can finalize at the end with our final score. All right. Let's see. Three, two, one, flip. 8.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Um,
right.
no, I kind of wanted to like. I still don't really know exactly how I feel about this movie. I
Yeah.
Because I really liked it a lot. I really thought it was kind of a back to basics in a lot of ways for a Pixar film, but at the same time, it really does kind of feel like there's too many cooks in a
Too many
kitchen
cooks.
at a few points. Too many cooks, yeah. Because like the middle is kind of messy
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways. There's a lot of like travel back and forth between areas that felt like it just sort of like I didn't really know exactly where the plot was going at a couple points, which I
Mm-hmm.
guess in some aspects is actually like maybe a good thing. But the beginning extremely strong and extremely strong, and like to me, the journey to get there, as messy as it was, I really liked it a lot. I know I'm maybe lowballing it there with a 7.5, but like I really liked it. I had a really good time with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too. I was more between an 8 and 8.5. And
Mhm.
where I do struggle with giving an 8.5 is because I think I gave Soul an 8.5 also. And I do think Soul's like a step above.
Yeah,
I
it is.
think. I
Yeah.
just haven't. Yeah, I'm similarly. I haven't really finalized my thoughts on it, which is, great coming into
Yeah.
a review and locking in a score that will be there for history.
That's right. For all time.
Unmovable.
That's right.
So,
Um,
I mean, it's cool, the headlines I was seeing of like, is this a return to form for Pixar? Pixar's back, and all those things. Do you agree with that? Is it that
I
big of a statement to this movie? Or
it's sort of hard to say. So like because I think we both enjoyed Elemental quite a bit. I feel like we there was some problems that we had with that movie, but I think overall my thoughts on Elemental, because I've rewatched it since we saw it in theaters, and I think I liked it more when I watched it again.
mm-hmm.
I really liked it a lot. And I think on Letterbox I scored Inside Out 2 fairly high, but I feel like I've actually kind of cooled a little bit on that feeling on my feelings towards it. I
Yeah,
probably put it more because I think I have like a 4.5 on Letterbox for that, but I think I'm probably more like a 4 or 3.5 on that movie. And I think Inside Out 2 is great, but it's kind of just the same movie again, with like a little extra spice, a little extra twist on top. Whereas this was something like but it's and then looking back at like, okay, well, I thought Turning Red was fantastic. I thought Soul was fantastic. I liked Luca. I was maybe a little too high on it. It's good. I think it's a very charming movie.
mm-hmm.
But then like Lightyear is kind of a big dud. And I'm trying to think of some other.
Yeah. It's like
What else was there?
there's not many that have actually been like, oh, these are actively bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
From all the ones we reviewed in recent history, they've all reviewed well.
yeah,
So yeah, I didn't watch Lightyear. That's one of the ones I missed. And then
yeah.
yeah, Turning Red is good. Soul's great.
I
And
I think
yeah,
I want to say I think my chief problem with the movie, other than some of the pacing problems. But like we'll get into that later. But like I'm kind of sick and tired of this art style.
Yeah, I agree too.
I
Like when the movie first started, especially, I'm like, when we got these big old mouth characters, like,
it's the people tend to call it the cow art style or the bean style because like the mouths look like beans or whatever. It's very reminiscent of Luca. It's very
yeah.
reminiscent of, and Luca's animation style is different. Luca takes a lot more inspiration from like Ghibli and like traditional animation in that way.
Mm.
This is very much like it feels like it's just a continuation of Pixar's sort of legacy in terms of 3D CG animation, um but I mean, I'm not a big fan of the way people look in this. And
Yeah.
I thought all the alien designs though, phenomenal. I loved
Mm-hmm.
all of that. That all looked great. Like super super creative, super fun, imaginative. Um that had like the real like Pixar zing and charm to it that I really liked. But yeah, I'm just tired of that style. I really I kind of want to see him move to a different direction because like you look back at a lot of their other films and there's a distinct difference in a lot of how they look. And it's like this last 5 years, it's like other than like Elemental, everything looks basically the same. And I guess Lightyear to an extent too. But
Yeah, because like turning red, it's you get that mouth
turning turning
style.
turning red has that. Soul even has it to a
Mm.
degree too.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I just think it's like we see so much more imaginative visual styles, and it's not even just like the character designs, though that is a big thing. Like the character designs, they altered stuff in Puss in Boots to fit with the new changes in animation style in that, The Last Wish.
Mm-hmm.
We see all kinds of different experimentation being made with like that Spider-Man films, the Spider-Verse movies. There's a lot going on there. There's a movie that just came out recently on Netflix. I've been meaning to watch it. I think it came out this past week, maybe this past weekend, maybe a couple weekends ago. But it was K-pop Demon Hunters,
Mm-hmm. I
and
saw the name.
people have said I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Really?
And
I
yeah,
just
and
saw it
it's
like on
like
the page, and I was like, oh, I assume that's some garbage, like
yeah, no,
shovelware.
it's shovelware Ruby. What the heck was that called? Ruby something Teenage Kraken.
Oh
Did you hear
yeah,
about that? Ruby something. I don't
yeah.
know. I think I heard about that movie
Well, we were
like
talking
a
about
week
it.
before it came out.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I think I showed you the trailer to it back in the
and I
day.
was
Because
like,
it was
this
like,
looks horrible.
this is weird looking. Yeah,
Yeah, it looks
similar to
horrible, and it
Teenage
didn't make
Kraken.
any money.
Yeah,
And it didn't make any money at all. It was rough out there. That was a DreamWorks though, I believe, from memory.
I don't even know. That seems like even
DreamWorks,
too
imagine.
small for DreamWorks. I don't know.
Yeah,
Could be.
I don't remember, but
DreamWorks is a hit or miss, and now they're just putting out hits now. But yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. We were talking about this in the podcast, and it's like hard as an animated film. It comes out with the same style that they've been doing to like really stand
Hmm.
out when you put it against its competitors. You know, all these
Yeah.
amazing visual feasts that these recent movies have been like priding themselves on, like not only just a distinct style, but really just beautiful shots and like amazing different things they're doing, from the Wild Robot and, like you were saying, Into the Spider Verse and
Yeah.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I mean, obviously DreamWorks stepping up their game in particular, but yeah.
I I feel like it, but the thing is, like, this movie does have some of those like set piece moments, and I'm like, wow. Like, I really think about like a wow shots of like space and like the weird, crazy stuff going on in the communiverse. I'm like, there's just some really cool stuff going on in here, and I feel like I got none of that in the marketing.
Yeah.
I feel like if they'd really emphasize maybe some of the spectacle, because it isn't like really a spectacle film. It is really kind of a focused movie about like this young boy and his like his struggles with trying to fit in with anyone or feel like he belongs anywhere. I get maybe like they're trying to focus on that aspect of it, which is like it's good because that's what the movie's about. But like I don't know, there's such a bigger stuff going on besides just that little story, like a visual spectacle, and I don't know why they just didn't really emphasize any of that. I don't know,
Yeah, I mean,
confused.
like because from the trailers it just seemed childish to me. Like that's the tone that I got from it. And like, oh yeah, I don't know this like this humor they're trying to play up in the trailer, and just didn't work for me. I'm like, ooh, I don't know if this is gonna be good. I might even pass on it entirely. But then yeah, the movie, if you really honed in, especially on if you just even if it was like a vague trailer where it's like focusing on like the space exploration aspect, like and how he's like really curious about these things, and like the weight behind that, like give a little more gravity to it than like just seemed like a goofy, forgettable movie is what it was gonna be.
Right.
Add a little more heart to it, you know, because that's really what it is, and that's where it
That's where
shines.
the and that is where, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
That's where the movie really kind of shines, is that sort of the heart behind the movie, which is like what that's like Pixar's thing, right? The heart behind the story. But like it's weird that they like de-emphasize that in the trailer almost. It seemed like, to me at least.
that's what it feels like. Yeah, like I guess maybe I'm just exaggerating it, but I have to
Yeah.
take another look at the trailer and see if I'm like I look too much into it. But that's how it felt, because just
Mm.
from the vibe of the trailer alone, I was like turned off by it. But yeah, a little bit of word of mouth of it being good is what it took for me to go and see it. So I'm glad I did.
Yeah. I will say, wait, you sell me on this movie immediately when in the first 10 minutes you've got a once in a lifetime drop. You play Talking Heads within the first 10 minutes of a movie, like little kids aren't like that's not necessarily the audience for that. It's like, sure, it's like kind of goofy and thematic and how it works, but like that's like um one of my best friends, that's like he's a big Talking Heads fan, and he's kind of gotten me on a Talking Heads kick over the last few years. And I mean, it was awesome. It was just so fantastic to see that in this. Oh yeah, this is for like me and like older people. It's like, hell yeah, let's go. You got that, and then that's like the only licensed music they use in the whole movie. It's like that, and then it's like this, one of the best film scores I've heard in years. I don't know if it was sticking out to you, but it was to me. I was like totally along for the ride with that score. It was really taking notes from all the space epics, like from like the 80s, 70s and 80s. I had like hints of Wall-E in there in 2008. I was just like I was swept away on the adventure with the score. I was really into it.
Right. I mean, the whole vibe. I'm trying to think what other Pixar movies are come close to this vibe of like space. What is the only
Yeah,
other
and it's
one? Lightyear. I haven't seen it,
Lightyear
but
and Wall-E,
yeah,
I guess, kind of as well, because Wally's got the big space stuff going on
yeah.
there too, and
So it feels like it's treading new ground, you know.
it
And
still is. Yeah, it does feel different despite that.
I mean that's part of the Pixar charm. I think that's the thing when people say it's Pixar back. You know, even with the Pixar movies we've liked in the past few years, it was still like they feel fairly derivative. It's always like a same kind of story, and it's like
Mhm.
it is still it's about family
Yeah,
still in this, but
yeah,
I guess,
yeah.
but
It is, but it does feel. I like that we have almost like you learn throughout part of the movie that there's almost two stories happening in parallel to each other, and that's like Elio learns from like what he sees almost to like, oh, this is exact what I'm seeing here is exactly applicable to my situation.
hmm
And it's like, um and we as the audience obviously get to see that happen, and it's cool. It's fun to see them because obviously Ellie was the main focus, his story, his plight. um but we do get the same sort of heartfelt stuff with one of the major alien relationship as well, in the
yeah,
film.
what's his name?
So
Glorden.
I like that. Gordon, yeah.
It's another like made up
That's
name, like
adorable. That's
like
yeah, it's
Jonathan.
adorable. I love it. Jonathan.
Just add like an
um,
extra syllable, like weirdly, in the front of a regular name. Yeah, he's
just add,
great.
add another. Yeah, I love Gordon.
Love
Gordon's
Gordon.
hilarious, and And
And it is funny that their whole like species, you know, they have this intimidating mech suit, but it's really just that caterpillar
there's
looking
just a
thing
worm.
inside. Yeah.
They're like a worm. It's kind of great. Another thing too is that the voice cast, very little like stunt casting feeling. Like that in and of itself almost feels like a, I don't know. Pixar's never really, except for like Inside Out and like maybe a couple leads. They
Mhm.
don't really like do huge stunt casting. They're like, yeah, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, and it's like, okay, the rest of the cast is like a bunch of people that like, you know, your mom and dad would know.
Yeah,
Like
this
that's
is
what
like
a
the
lot of them
lead.
are.
Yeah,
Here we
the
have
lead usually.
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, Zoe Saldana. I kind of
She's
forgot that she was in it. Like I remember
yeah.
hearing that, and
Until
then
I saw the credits.
I was like, "This voice sounds familiar." But I didn't think that's not what I was
Yeah,
thinking at all. I was thinking it was like
I didn't think that
another
either.
Pixar character. I was like, was this from another movie?" But
Oh
no.
well, my favorite was Brad Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Garrett is kind of the villain. That was wonderful. I
Yeah.
thought that was so good. I was like Brad Garrett. He's been voice acting for many years because he was A Bug's Life. I don't remember. He was the Stag Beetle. Hang on there, Mister
Mm-hmm.
Ant.
Mm-hmm.
He was in that. Obviously, well known for his role as Robert in Everybody Loves Raymond. Um, but
Right. See, I didn't
yeah, he
even
was
know. I didn't even
instantly
know that's what the voice
instant.
was until you just said that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was just like instantly recognizable to me. I was like,
Yes.
oh, that's Brad Garrett. I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
should have.
is this movie from like 19? I was thinking, is this movie from like 2006? I was like, what are we doing? Like, what? That's amazing. Brad Garrett's just like out here, like still voice acting a character.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like a major star. He's just doing the job, and he's great. I mean, he's great. He was great. He did such a good job.
Yeah.
Um, and I'd say the same thing for the whole cast. I didn't really recognize many of the other names, but I thought the cast was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, overall. So,
Yeah,
but
and you have these weird, quirky little aliens, and it's part of this like council type situation we got going on. I like how they're
uh,
so cowardly, like they just want to run away immediately.
it's so great. I love that. They're like, well, very peaceful. It's like, yeah, any sort of resistance, they're like, well, never mind. It's time to run away now.
No, when Elio offers
um,
to try to do something about it, like, maybe we should consider, so we don't have to run away every time someone comes.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, he steps in. He wants to feel. He feels like this is a place he can fit in. He doesn't feel like he fits in anywhere at home. So I guess we can get like fully into spoilers territory now. I would say it's like I think it's a great, maybe not great, but it's a very good family film, and I'd recommend people go see it,
yeah,
support it.
yeah.
It is kind of a bummer when it's a movie that's like I really like, and it's kind of sucks to see it sort of fail so horribly. But it's like there's just so many. I don't know. It's hard to pin down exactly
Yeah.
the reason, but I think it's just everything together. I think it's a bunch of reasons.
Well, it's
Um,
like I was saying, the reputation is kind of going down, so it's not
mm,
as much of a fervor. Like we need to see every new Pixar movie, and that with
mm,
like the marketing not being where I think they should have done with it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I think too that like with Pixar films in general too, I think there's been sort of a training going on for people just like just wait for it. It'll be on Disney Plus
That's true.
because
They are doing that.
that was where everything was just slapped during COVID. They didn't delay any releases. They're like, no, we'll put it on. We'll try to boost Disney Plus numbers while theaters are closed. And yeah,
Was
I don't
that
know. It
just
just didn't
Pixar,
really.
or was that Disney in general?
Yeah, no, it was mainly just Pixar. Most of the Disney films were. It was like Mulan. I think was like one of the only exceptions to
Because
that.
they would do a couple of
Um,
live action remake stuff
yeah,
on there, but when
yeah,
you seemed that initially they were more keen on doing that like original just for Disney Plus
hmm
movies, and then they
right.
kind of moved away from it.
Like
Yeah,
a
that
lot of
could
the
be it.
Pixar films, like were just dumped on there. So we get like Soul. Well, first it starts with Onward. That's actually a film that I don't know if that film gets like a bad reputation or not. I don't know. I really like that movie a lot. but it also feels like a movie that is geared to
Mhm.
me specifically,
Mhm.
because it's like very D&D centric. It has Tom Holland and Chris Pratt basically playing themselves,
Yeah.
um, and they're great, but people are tired of Chris Pratt. I think this is even before people were tired of Chris Pratt. Maybe it was during. I don't know. Um, and just like everyone's tired of getting tired of Pedro Pascal now. Everyone's like,
Mhm.
which sucks because like I feel like I can feel that happening. And it's like I love Pedro Pascal. I think he's great, but I just please stop putting him in stuff.
He's taking every idea and getting them all.
He's getting it all. Yeah.
There's definitely a conditioning happening there, yeah, where
Yeah.
it's like if these kids and these families aren't immediately passionate about it, we need to see this now, then it's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, we can wait.
Yeah.
So if it's not your Moana 2, if it's not
Right.
Lilo and Stitch, then it's like, okay,
Right. If it's not already a hit franchise that you know what to expect exactly
yeah,
entirely.
because
Yeah.
they watched Moana on streaming, and now they want to see
Yeah.
Moana 2 as soon as it comes
Right.
out.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they were 3 when COVID hit, and they watched Moana like 4 times, and now Moana 2 came out, and they're in what 7 now, or 8 or whatever that movie came out, and it's
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, let's go see Moana 2, and then the whole family crowd piles into a movie theater
Yeah.
to go see it, and it makes $1 billion, even though the movie's not very good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so
yeah,
it's the thing is like some of Disney's most successful movies the past couple years are like not great uh retreading of the
yeah.
same movie or sequel to a pre-existing movie.
Inside Out 2 made like
Yeah.
it made an
Well,
obscene amount of money.
yeah, and
It
that's
was
like
like
the
well
exception to
over a
where it
billion.
was
It
like
was like
also critically acclaimed and
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say we didn't
yeah,
review in that, but yeah, I did enjoy that. I did wasn't as passionate about
yeah,
it as most people were coming out of it seems,
yeah,
but
yeah. I feel like I've cooled on it a little bit too, but I feel like I also need to watch it again, as I only seen it once. I did really enjoy it quite a lot, but it is very much still like, oh, this is Inside
mhm.
Out. Yeah, here we go. It's still the same kind of, you know.
So
But yeah, with this, it's like, I mean, you're just they're really kind of swinging for the fences in a lot of ways here, and I think that's kind of why the film ends up being a bit messy, because you have then there's like four story by credits. There's like 3 writers, 3 directors. I mean, there's just so many hands in the pot here. Um, so I think a lot of the middle messiness of the film, where it's like, oh, we're Elio's here in the communiverse, then he's like gonna go and parlay with the big the warlord guy, and then him and Gordon come back and they're in the communiverse again, and then everything's all set and they're fine, I guess. And then it's like, and then 10 minutes go by and nothing's happened in the movie, and it's like, so is that part like, have we just stalled out on the plotting of this? And then like the clone back on Earth is like, I was very I was very just like kind of like confused by that plot line, until I love the turn that took, where it's
yeah.
like she knows, she
Yeah,
figured it out,
that's
because
the
it's like
thing.
you would know, immediately. And I actually, it's I get why they have to do it. I kind of wish they didn't always like spell it out completely, but it is actually a satisfying moment when the big warlord, Brad Garrett character, the warlord guy, figures out that the clone is not Gordon, because
Yeah.
he's just like, a parent always knows. It's like,
Yeah.
a parent knows. I know that's not my son. He's just acting. He's acting nothing like how he would act,
Yeah.
and I think that's such a. I love that. I think that's such a
Yeah.
fun plot point.
That's one of my favorite points as
Um,
well. Yeah, because I was really
yeah,
thinking like when she was just all in on like, oh, I love this new kid
yeah,
I got. I was like, damn,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
no coming back from this. I'm not gonna root for her. Like,
yeah.
geez, but even
And it's
though
like
like
she's got like her.
she does initially. She is happy that he just like threw out his
Yeah.
interests. He's like, oh, you're not worried
Mm.
about space or anything like that anymore?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'm done with that. She's like, oh, that's great, awesome. That's good to hear.
It's like, is it great? It's horrible. It's like his whole person. It's like his entire personality is built around that, and he just doesn't
It's
care
like,
about
damn, that
it.
was bothering me for some time now. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
nice.
It's
Don't
just-
have to hear about that shit anymore.
yeah, that's just my whole life already. Now you have to be all weird about it.
But so that was great. That was great.
Yeah.
'Cause otherwise, I was
Yeah.
about to be completely out on that. I was like, yeah, just F
Yeah,
it,
I was
leave her
kinda like-
behind, get out of here.
Yeah. But no, and then it ended up being like super a little beautiful, little wholesome moment where where they reconnect too. I love that.
Mhm.
It's just such a great scene where he ends up back on Earth um and she realizes it's him. And then yeah, just like he has the eye patch thing. He
Mhm.
gets like a black eye really early. What's more the I think he's like has like a punctured eye,
Yeah,
basically.
that was a
And
great moment when she peels it back and just eyes wide open.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we have hello, we have some explaining to do. It's like I think we have to have
Yeah.
a conversation.
I do think maybe they could have spent more time on his like the fact that he lost his parents and that whole element of it.
Yeah,
Because it feels so
they kinda
understated
gloss
and
over
it's
that.
just like we know that, but we're not gonna get into it, kind of thing. We know what's going on here,
Yeah.
but I feel like
Yeah.
there could have been like a moment where really that affects him or something more. Because
Mm.
otherwise, it's just like it's a little footnote, and it's just okay. Well, this is a dynamic with it's not his biological mother, his aunt, and this is what we're dealing
Mhm.
with. But could have been more there.
Yeah. No, I agree. I I love just like it's sort of like not even an over it's not like overemphasized, but I love the idea that because he talks about Elioese, his language. It's like, yeah, I made it up with my parents. Like he talked about like that's where it comes from. It's just like a little thing that they had together.
Yeah.
And that was really sweet. But that's like his one kind of the one thing he still is like super happy about when he's thinking about his parents, whereas the rest of it kind of bums him out.
Mm-hmm.
As would do is
Yeah. So ultimately, it leads
yeah.
to a sweet moment at the end of the film where he ends up giving up his badge and going back to Earth. Do we low key think he should have stayed out there, kept doing space shit? Just like
Maybe I don't know.
Is there
Maybe
some
a little
arrangement
bit.
we could have had?
There was some arrangement because the mid credits scene seems to indicate that there's like that there's still communication between them and the
Wait, what was that?
universe. They like
remember.
there's like a radio signal. They're like answering a radio signal,
Okay.
and they're talking to Gordon.
I can't remember if I watched it or not. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a I don't know if you what you probably didn't see was the extremely bizarre teaser for the next Pixar film that happens like all the way past
Okay, so
past everything.
So yeah, I did see the mid credits one. Yeah, I did not watch.
Yeah.
Teaser.
The weird teaser where it's like a lizard pressing an emoji. There's a lizard that shows up in this movie too at one point, and I don't know if that was like also kind of a reference to this next movie.
A lizard presses an emoji.
Yeah, he has this phone. He keeps pressing this emoji. I don't know if it's like a hot dog emoji. I don't remember. He keeps pressing it, and then it's super weird. It's super bizarre because it's just like in this blank void, and then he presses that, and then he like I'm trying to remember exactly what he does. It's something like super strange. He like looks at the camera. It's very like kind of unsettling. And then like the title for whatever, I don't even remember the title for it. It's coming out next year. And I looked up the plot synopsis. It's about like a girl who's able to like transplant her brain, or like she's able to like possess or transplant her brain into animals to understand how they think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's weird. That is a weird plot, and I'm kind of and I'm really here for it. I was like, that's the kind of weird stuff that like
it's like fuck, we're running out of our normal ideas. We're gonna have to maybe Weird Greg. Maybe it's time to bring out one of your ideas. We'll finally give him a shot. I mean, we've been pushing him off.
Well, what was weird about it too is because I was looking up some details about it, and it's being worked on by the same guy. He's like a Cartoon Network guy. That yeah, Inside Out 2. Oh my god, Inside Out 2 made $1.6 billion.
Yeah,
that is obscene. That is actually obscene.
It's crazy.
What is it called? Hoppers.
Hoppers. Oh, like hopping through brains.
Written and directed by Daniel Chong, and Daniel Chong is best known for We Bare Bears.
Wow.
Which is a really solid Cartoon Network show. I remember watching some of it back around when it was first coming out. It would have been 2015. Yeah. I found that very very charming. I really liked that quite a bit.
Okay.
But it has like a very specific sense of humor as well. So I feel like I could I could go with that kind of a tone shift for that. Yeah, so here's the premise. What if you could talk to animals and understand what they're saying? In Disney and Pixar's all-new feature film Hoppers, scientists have discovered how to hop human consciousness into lifelike robotic animals, allowing people to communicate with animals as animals.
Okay.
The adventure introduces Mabel, an animal lover who seizes the opportunity to use the technology, uncovering mysteries within the animal world that are beyond anything she could have imagined.
All right.
Very weird.
Sure.
That's very strange. It has Bobby Moynihan and John Hamm.
Wow.
Are confirmed.
Wait,
yeah,
no
John
way.
Hamm.
You know what? The first thing I thought of when you were talking about that was the freaking Black Mirror episode with John Hamm.
Yeah.
It literally was what came to mind. Like, oh, we're putting consciousness in there.
Yeah,
they're like, yeah, we need him. They probably watched that Black Mirror episode.
John Hamm. Like, yeah, we got that. We need it. We got him. We got John Hamm. There he is.
So I do want to say, I had almost like a cursed theater experience. It was almost.
Oh no!
You know, it was like.
Well, almost.
Well, it started with there was like a kid that was like dancing in the front. He was dancing along to like some of the trailers and like Zootopia 2 trailer, like that boom 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 boom.
They didn't. I don't think they played that at mine.
Oh no, they played it in a couple movies I watched recently. That it's just like animals, and there's not really much to it. It's just like animals and like a little electronic beat. And so he was dancing to that. I was like, oh boy, we're about to have a rowdy.
I said, was he dancing to Once in a Lifetime?
I don't know.
Because that would be appropriate. I would be like, okay, you can dance to that. It's a good song.
Because he didn't really actually bother me after that. I thought he was about to be loud the whole time. But then there was some like teenagers in front of us. They were pretty loud, just like talking. Well, one kid in particular just talked like full volume. It was like, oh wow, that's an interesting choice they made there. like just commenting on what's happening. It's like, oh no, and then he had like really loud laugh at one point. But then that was like, I was like, he's about to be obnoxious. But then it was like 30 minutes into the movie. It was like 20 people come in, just making the loudest. There's the loudest, just like with tons of kids and like adults, and just like talking as if there's no one watching the movie right now. I was like, all right, you come over here. Or they have their phone flashlights out. It's just like a whole mess. I mean, what is going on?
Wow, that's
like,
crazy.
And I saw people coming in when I came into the theater. They were going up the elevator to where they usually have like birthday parties and stuff, and they had like a cake and everything. So it's like I almost felt like they ended up in the wrong theater, and they're just like didn't even notice. They're like, we're here for the birthday party. Let's just make as much noise as we want, But
while a movie's playing, yeah. Oh well.
Oh, and also one point in the movie, it just like turns off. The movie just turns off. Lights come on for like 30 seconds, or like a minute.
Oh, that's I don't. Oh no, that's very
But it was very
alarming. I don't like
weirdly like perfect transition. It was like right when all the the power went out in that facility,
Oh,
and
that's
then it
fun.
like faded to black, and then just lights come on. The movie turns off. I'm like, whoa, this is very avant garde.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very off-the-guard situation. This is like that. This is like Megalopolis or whatever, where they had the. You heard about that, right? Where they had like, they on some screenings of that they would have they would have a hired actor to actually be fielding questions to
Hmm.
um the character on screen,
No, no,
which I don't really know how they're going to handle that. How they handle that on the home release of that movie,
I don't know.
but yeah,
But yeah, then it came back on quickly, luckily.
that's good.
But
It's
you just
good.
missed a little chunk in there, whatever that happened in that
Oh.
minute.
um I had so mine was thankfully not cursed. I just remembered I actually didn't get to see any of the previews because I showed up early, which I don't sometimes I'm like I'm running a little behind, but I showed up early and then there's a group of like probably like anywhere between 16 to 20-year-olds that were just in front of me and I went I got my ticket and then they came after me and they got all their tickets for 28 years later.
Hmm.
And then they all decided to stand in front of. They all basically cut in front of me in line to concessions because I do frequently get popcorn. I love popcorn. It's like I gotta have some popcorn.
Uh-huh.
I hadn't had anything to eat that day too because I was like, all right, I'll just have some popcorn. And then I was thinking. Then I thought I was like, okay, maybe they're just hanging out with their friend who was in front of me. They're just hanging out with him while he gets concessions. And he goes, like, he gets concessions, and then the next one goes in. And he's like, oh yeah, I'd like this thing. And then before the next guy goes up, I was like, "You guys do realize you just cut me, right?" I was like, "Well, no." I asked, "Are you all getting concessions?" And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, sure, yeah, absolutely." And I was like, "Well, you did cut me, and my film, like the movie I'm going to, is like starting right now." And so they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, yeah, go ahead. You could have said something."
You
And I was like,
did just now.
"Yeah, I just did. I just did."
Right.
So then they let me through.
Take
And
what's yours,
yeah,
King.
yeah, they did. They let me through.
Yeah.
Nice of them. They're like, you could have said something. I was like, yeah, I just did.
Usually, when we cut in front of people, they'll tell if it's an inconvenience or not. You know,
Yeah.
speak
Well, I
up
didn't
next
want to
time.
assume because I was like, maybe they're just excited to see this movie and they're hanging out with their friend. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna fault them for that. But no, they were all planning on getting like popcorn and soda and
Everybody.
candy and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. I was like, get out of my way. This is a tiny little this our little art house theater. It's like let me get my stuff and go to my movie. So
All right, so we've stopped talking
yeah,
about this movie for some time.
yeah,
I
we have, but
think we
I mean I don't
mostly
know.
talked
I don't.
about not this movie. I think in this review,
We have,
and we like this
but
movie. It's not even like we don't like the movie.
yeah, I know. Well, so here's another thing that another few things that stand out to me in this film. One, the narrator at the museum about when he goes into the exhibit about the Voyager probe.
Hmm.
I immediately recognized that was Kate Mulgrew, who was the captain, who played Captain Janeway on Star Trek Voyager. I have
Uh-huh.
to make my obligatory Star Trek reference here,
Okay.
but I
Nice.
instantly recognized her voice, and I was like, "That is awesome that they got her to
Hmm.
voice about this exhibit about the Voyager when she was in the Star
Yeah.
Trek Voyager. That's
There's
great."
some real space fans in there. Some sci-fi
Yeah,
fans.
Carl Sagan voiceover. We just saw a movie where they already had that, so it was kind of funny. They were doing double duty with some Carl Sagan Cosmos stuff, but like
Cosmos here.
I was just like I was here for it. I was like, all right, let's go. Love that. Love that they have that. And I was like, that's another thing that's like that's for like us. That's for like our like older people that can appreciate Carl Sagan because like little Jimmy who's going to see this movie, he's like, who's that man? What's he talking about? They're
Hmm.
not going to be thinking about Carl Sagan talking about space and educating the masses on the wonders of science and the cosmos. But
Yeah.
that was wonderful because they use that at the beginning and then they tie it in at the end in such a wonderful, beautiful way. That was great. I was like, this is fantastic. I can't think of another Pixar film that's quite done the kinds of things that they do in this film. Because then there's also like, there's like horror sci-fi referenced in this as well, with like that one scene where it's like, who's there? And it's like the clone then like it's like deforming. Like it's like this horror scene. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
I do think overall the concept is interesting of the kid and the time frame, the timeline we have from the kid going from being curious about the existence of aliens to him just confirming the existence of aliens. It's such a quick turnaround time. It's like he just did it. He just set out his mind and did it.
It's like a summer basically, right? He spends like a summer like trying to.
If you have a kid who's inspired by this movie, you'll live your whole life. You'll just devote your whole life and never get the. It's crazy how Elio got that immediately, and suddenly he's seen as the leader of Earth. It's just like, wow, everything's coming up Elio here. You did that.
Everything's coming up. Yeah, and I actually like sometimes the trope of like the storytelling trope. Then Pixar's used this in a lot of their films where it's like they use like he's hiding the truth with a lie, and he like kind of gets forward with a lie, and then it's the getting caught in a lie. They do such a good job subverting the typical like, we're angry at you now because you lied. It's like, no, they're all pretty understanding actually. Like the one mind reading probe alien is just kind of like, well, you're not the leader of Earth, like we can't do this, but we also want you to be safe, so like please get out of here, like leave, like we need you out of here.
Yeah,
we want to protect you still. And I'm like, I like that because they didn't completely like we don't trust you at all anymore. They don't do that, you know, the big fallout, you know, A Bug's Life sort of thing, which is a trope that I'm not a big fan of because it's hard. It's like one of those things that's hard to do well. We talked about the Lilo Stitch briefly, where they kind of do it there, and then it's just weird how they use it there. But here is done like in a way that's like it happens. There's a reveal and there's consequences, but it's not like oh, he's caught in a lie and like he feels bad about it, but he feels bad just because it's like he has to go back to Earth now because it's like he's not who he said he was. Yeah, I don't know. Reasonable consequences for the actions. Not everybody's angry at him for no reason.
Pretty healthy resolution to everything, all things considered. I mean, even the villain was like pretty reasonable about it, you know, and he wasn't a toxic guy at the end of the day. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
chill.
That was such a. Oh yeah, that was actually like a really extremely heartwarming moment where he's super concerned about his son. He like rips his way out of the suit, which apparently they don't do once they're in the suit. They never leave it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he tears his way out of it because he wants to protect his. Revive his son, and I'm like, oh, it's just like, I love the wholesome. He might be a big brute, but he still has a heart down there somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah,
mom's fighting in the blood war, or the blood wars. What is it again? She's fighting because he's like the leader or whatever, but it's like the mom is actually the big war hero. She's the one that's fighting in the blood wars. I don't remember what they're called. It's something like that where it's like that's fun. She's off fighting in glorious combat.
But yeah, I also like the fact of how they handled how the aliens in this council type thing, weren't immediately like, oh, that's just a kid, because they don't know any better. You know, you don't know how life forms are in different planets, so they're just like, okay, you're the leader of Earth, sure. And then they're like, they have the shock of like, he's just a kid. Whoa, it blows their minds.
There's and like because all they have reference for is like the information that was on the Voyager probe, which is like not much. It's like basic language kind of thing. Like that's how they, and like the tone, they have that the note tone, which is why he knows that that's But the conspiracy theory guy, loved him. He was fun.
And the
I like how
was it goodbye I love you? Is it those little
goodbye yeah,
send
yeah.
off.
Goodbye, I love you. Yeah,
And then they were all saying it
yeah.
to him, and then they took away his
You could
translation, and he could still tell what everybody
kind of
was
hear it.
saying. You
Yeah,
know, it was a nice moment.
lots of sweet moments in this movie. Yeah, it's like it's funny because like I feel like our review of this is about saying about as messy as the film. Like our middle, we were just talking about whatever else, and now we're coming back to a kind of a
Yeah,
conclusion. That's it's very sweet and wholesome.
very.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and it's a shame that it's gonna lose a lot of money probably.
Mm-hmm.
So
Final score.
it is one I'm gonna look. I'm gonna try and hunt down the soundtrack for this because I think the score was beautiful. This movie, big fan.
Our final score: 3, 2, 1. Flip. 8.
I also came up to an 8.
I had a feeling
Yeah,
that's
I
where
think
we
it's
would
good.
end up. Yeah. Because
Yeah,
even if we saved our
I
initial score, it would have ended up with the same score overall. But a lot of times that happens. We'll meet in the middle.
yeah, yeah. I feel like my thoughts are more overall positive for the film. I think it is messy. Its pacing is a little awkward in the middle. Um, but yeah, ultimately just a very sweet movie. It's it's not like the top tier Pixar, but it's not like at the bottom either. I would put it somewhere in the middle. I think.
Yeah. So
Um,
Tarqaron score of 8. Yeah, I came in
mhm,
down to an 8 because I do feel like there's a distinction between this and like something like Soul, where I do
mm,
think is something that sticks with me more. Obviously, I don't
mhm,
have the time or to know how much it'll stick with me, but I just feel like this is more just like, yeah, it's a sweet movie, but Soul is
mhm.
more like it hits me on another level than this one.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I feel like Soul approaches the themes a little bit more. Like it has a lot headier themes, probably like maybe more like existential themes. I mean, it's is literally a movie about like death and the afterlife. It's not. It's so it did that is going to be naturally dealing with those kind of themes. And I think this sort of like dips its toe into it, which I think is why it stands out to me. Like the Cosmos stuff, like, it really is dipping its toe into like the idea of like connections to the world that's out there, and it's like, but at the same time, that's like what we have here is also something that we need to cherish, and the human experience is something that we still need to embrace, even as we search for life beyond.
yeah,
Um, so
and I do think we
yeah,
should. It would be nice to get a different animation style, some changes, mix it up here
yeah,
there.
I
So,
think so. I agree.
all right, there it is.
Hmm.
Elio. Elio
Elio,
was such a big question mark coming into Elio, and
Elio.
yeah. So what's next for us when it comes to Pixar? Is it Hoppers? I don't know.
It might be Hoppers or well, let's see. Hoppers, I think, is coming out before Toy Story 5 is next year.
Toy Story 5 and 6. Yeah. So
Did you see the teaser for that?
no, I didn't.
They've only shown like a very little bit. They didn't like release like a film teaser, but I heard people that like saw some like basically uh, some like teaser, some like concept art for it, and they were sort of like a narration talking about like the general vibe. But like
Okay.
so the premise: after Woody left Bonnie to help abandoned toys find owners, Jesse has led the charge in Bonnie's room with Buzz Lightyear as second in command. However, an 8-year-old Bonnie has become enamored of her favorite plaything, a frog-like tablet named Lilypad. Woody, now back with his friends, Buzz and Jesse, are going to stop kids using technology. Woody, why is Woody back?
Oh, wait, they're
Why
stopping.
Woody's just like
They're like, we need
Woody's
to
just coming
stop
back.
this. We need to stop these iPad babies. Right?
Basically, yeah,
Wow, that's a big statement coming out of Toy Story 5.
yeah, yeah. Well, so apparently we've got our core cast: Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Joan Cusack. We also have Ernie Hudson back as Combat Carl, who was in the last film. And we also have Conan O'Brien.
Oh yeah.
Conan
What?
O'Brien's in this as a character called Smarty Pants, and I'm like, yeah.
I love Conan
Also,
O'Brien.
Anna Faris. Anna Faris is going to be in it too, apparently. So,
Okay. You
yeah.
think we've lost the
All
plot
right.
yet?
Well, why is there a Toy Story 5?
We'll see. We'll
I
see. Well,
I don't
you gotta
know.
turn off
We'll
the
see.
all the iPad kids what coming to watch this movie.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I get
They're
shut
gonna
off
be
the damn
offended. They're gonna
tablets
walk
and-
out mid movie. Fuck this shit, man. They don't know shit about what I go back to my iPad
the
anyway.
I will say I've enjoyed seeing the interpretation of the Toy Story, how that's looked over the years. Because that has sort of a kind of also a timeless look to it. Even with like the older animation look of like Toy Story 1 is obviously very old, a much older film. Still looks pretty good. But I really like the extra polish that they added to like Toy Story. That movie looks amazing. Looks very impressive in terms of its animation. So I hope they just lean into that. Don't do more. Don't do more of this stuff.
What do you think of the
please.
odds that we get to Toy Story 10?
Unfortunately large.
That's a crazy.
That's
That would be a crazy number. Toy Story 10 coming out. Yeah. Now I feel like they gotta give it up at some point, but yeah. All right. So
Incredibles 3 is also in development.
yeah, I gotta catch up on Incredibles too.
Are they actually gonna? The thing with Incredibles 3 is like, are they gonna actually like let Craig T. Nelson be an old man? Because Craig T. Nelson is like in his 80s, and he sounds old. He sounds old in 2, even though it takes place like days after 1, but he sounds significantly older. So it's like, maybe actually like make him. Let's age him up a few years. Let's skip ahead a little bit. That's probably not a bad idea. That's just my.
Well, we'll see what's next for
Anyway.
us here on the channel. In terms
We
of
will see.
new movies in general, I don't know what the next one. Well, Naked Gun probably will be the next one.
Think you can,
But yeah, there you go.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. Like the video. We got tons of content every week. Tons of movie reviews to go into. But random rules. I'm gonna pull up random Tarqaron video for you to check out in the meantime. So if you enjoyed this video, why don't you go check out our reaction to Black Mirror Season 3, Episode 6, Hated It in the Nation.
Okay, I thought it would have been kind of amazing if it was
Not the John
White
Hamm one, yeah.
Christmas.
Hated in the Nation is the one that has all the little bees that start hunting people down and whatnot.
The nano bees, yeah. Nano bees, baby.
That's
right.
another thing we got to get back to, Black Mirror. We're like a couple more seasons have dropped too. It's crazy. All right.
Yeah. Wow.
There you go. And take care, right?